Hello, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us. I just wanted to start off today by wishing everyone a happy Earth Day. So wherever you find yourself, I hope you're able to get outside for a little bit today and get some fresh air, but after the webinar. So welcome to our weekly series featuring Discover Corps' guides and partners from around the globe. As you know, our mission is to create advocates through travel for different local communities and projects happening around the world. And while we're not traveling right now, the people and purposeful projects we work on are affected by COVID-19. So this is our way to keep you updated, allowing you to hear straight from our sources and country, and really ask those questions about what it looks like in a particular destination right now. So we'll get started. A few introductions for you. I'm Angela, and the travel specialist here, and I'm leading today's webinar because I am from Seward, Alaska.
Hi everyone, I'm Amanda. I am the marketing manager at Discover Corps.
Hi everyone, I'm Adrian. I'm the operations assistant here.
Hey guys, my name's Alex. I'm the operations manager here at Discover Corps.
All right, and today we are joined by our friends in Alaska. We have Mandy Garcia, who is our partner, and Marisa Pollock, our guide for our itinerary called The Great Exploration. So please introduce yourselves. How long have you been in Alaska for? And because we know tourism is primarily seasonal, when you aren't coordinating and guiding trips, how do you spend your time? And Mandy, we'll start with you.
All right, well, my name is Mandy Garcia, and I've been in Alaska now for 13 years, originally from the Midwest. And after college, I studied geology and business in college. So I graduated, I drove my truck up to Alaska, and Alaska is definitely home, and I live in Anchorage, Alaska. During the time of the year that primarily other operators are not touring in Alaska, so for example, most of the big companies are going to come in the summer, but our company, we're year-round. And when we're not touring, we're planning tours, or I have two little ones that keep me pretty busy. Take it away, Marisa.
Hi, I'm Marisa. I was born and raised in Eagle River, Alaska, and that is where I currently reside. Just returned back a couple years ago. Did some in and out of state living for the past 5 years. I kind of cut my teeth in the guide world of Alaska 12 years ago. This is gonna be my 12th guide season, which is pretty exciting. Pretty much all the time when I have time off, we're outside doing stuff. We have a couple dogs that are very rambunctious, so we're in the woods a lot, running them around, and everything Alaskan, so fishing and hiking and backpacking, pretty much everything under the sun is what we do.
Awesome. Well, we're so happy to have you both join us today, so thanks again. And we'll cut to it. You know, over the last few weeks, we've been speaking to our partners around the globe, really to learn about how this pandemic is affecting these communities. So what is the overall attitude of COVID-19 in Alaska?
Yeah, so the overall attitude is probably a lot like what you're all seeing at home. Obviously, we have really similar hunkered down mandates for both the state of Alaska and the municipality of Anchorage, which is where both of us reside. So it really is a lot similar to what everyone's experiencing across the US. One thing I would think is a lot different about Alaska is a lot of people have just taken to the outdoors, which is great. I think it's kind of to be expected for a lot of Alaskans. So that's really great to see. Everyone's been practicing some really great social distancing, and I think for a lot of people, they're getting to enjoy a lot more of the outdoors than they normally would because of this whole thing. So that's pretty nice. The communications that we have in Alaska are actually phenomenal. We have a lot of really good information coming through our regular community lines, through the news, and just Facebook Live and stuff like that. So it's really easy to stay informed, which even I was really surprised about through this whole thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would say that even like our best communication right now, and probably the leading source of information right now, is Dr. Ann Zink. She's our chief medical officer in Alaska, and people are really responding well to her direction.
Yeah, I've been seeing that myself too, with my family living in Alaska. refer to her often and all the updates that are happening on a daily basis. So that's great to see. And how many cases are there in Alaska currently?
Currently, there are 329 cases as of yesterday. And it is nice to know that about 50% or over 50% of them, about 168 are recovered. And so we're able to, right now, there's a call for action for plasma donation so people can take the antibodies in those plasma and help treat people with COVID-19 right now.
Right. Yeah. Alaska does have one of the lowest numbers of cases in the nation. That's great. So what measures has the state taken to keep this number so low?
So the first and foremost, like we said before, on May 18th, when the mayor issued the hunker down notice or the mandate, we definitely, everyone really heeded that advice, and we were able to not only hunker down in Anchorage, but the other communities were able to follow suit.
And that was a really nice thing of, it's kind of, being in Alaska is kind of a double-edged sword for many reasons, because we're essentially a land-based island in consideration to the rest of the United States. So it's great because we're able to kind of shut our borders, so to speak, and limit travel, and having Canada limit the driving traffic through there, the non-essential traffic, it made it really easy for us to kind of cut off the rest of the world. So in other respects, that's really detrimental for Alaska, but in this regard, it actually worked out really well for us. So it was, and we were one of the first states that did kind of that, not travel ban, but travel restrictions and do the hunker down. And Anchorage was kind of the leading force, and most of the other municipalities and boroughs overall kind of followed suit with that, which was really nice to see.
Definitely. And so how has this been looking for the both of you? How has this affected your day-to-day life?
Well, it turns out I usually self-isolate, it seems like. So for me in particular, or for us, it wasn't a huge change. Working from home is a bit different, but as far as activities, I'd say that a lot more creative with exercising and taking a lot more of that stuff just outdoors, which is great. So it's kind of exercising a little bit of creativity, but the dogs love it, so that's great. but for me, fortunately, I wasn't affected too heavily, which I know is not the case for everyone overall, but we're in a really fortunate position.
Yeah, and for me, as I've got a team of guides that we're trying to keep busy during this time. So we have, that's played a really big role in my day-to-day life, how to keep going, right? And partnerships, forging new partnerships in the community. We have resources like tour guides and vans that can safely transport food boxes from the food bank to seniors that are in need. So that's one of our leading projects right now. But so organizing that, and then homeschool. I don't know if there's any moms out there listening, but wow, when these kids go back to school, I will shower their teachers and just love and gifts, lots and lots of gifts. So, and then lastly, I would say, Zoom meetings and scheduling, scheduling is life right now. Zoom meetings are life. And I would say my favorite part about life in COVID is just that neighborly want to help the person next door. Oh, I'm going to the recycling center, leave your recycling outside and I'll take it for you. Or I saw a package of Lysol wipes at the store. Oh my goodness, I got you one. So little things like that have been keeping us busy.
Absolutely. Yeah. We can definitely attest to the Zoom meetings. We live by that day to day.
Yeah.
So as we enter into the summer and Alaska's peak tourist season, there's so much in limbo. So with the cruise lines canceling their sailings, how do you see these land-based tours becoming the best way to experience Alaska?
Yeah, definitely. The Southeast Alaska, where those cruise ships primarily dock and do day trips and excursions, that they're going to be greatly affected. And we've always done small group exclusive travel. We really believe that if anything, this will really highlight that style of travel as more of a controlled or safer way to experience Alaska. Being able to buy out trips or being able to have a private guide is definitely going to be sought after. And we're expecting, honestly, we're expecting July for people to start slowly traveling, whether it's in-state market, like people doing staycations to kind of test out the waters. But there's definitely going to be travelers coming up looking for that small group experience. And an off the beaten path experience. Travelers this year are going to get to experience something pretty special.
Yeah, and another really interesting element for this coming tourism season is that because we are getting this late start, I'm actually kind of excited about the potential for that later summer, fall, and even early winter season opening up, because we're really well versed in the products that we offer and we guide really regularly, and almost all of them are specifically designed to be able to operate all year round, no matter what the season is and whether there is cruise ships coming in or whatever. So I'm actually really excited to see that season possibly get shifted and kind of open everyone's eyes to the fact that we can operate a lot of these products well into September and October, when usually traditionally our summer season for everyone universally, whether you're involved with the cruise ship season or not, really significantly tapers that third week in September or so. So we kind of have to make do with what we have to work with, and it's really unfortunate that our season most likely will have this late start. But the silver lining of it to me is that we really will get to highlight some products that probably haven't gotten as much attention forever. So that's really exciting to me.
Yeah, you make a really good point there. So in our itinerary, the Great Exploration, we visit wonderful nonprofit organizations. We have the Alaska Sea Life Center, the Center for Alaska Coastal Studies, the Beluga Whale Alliance. Tell us a little bit about these projects we visit and how these local organizations are really dealing with this.
Yeah, our three main nonprofits, like you mentioned, the Alaska Sea Life Center, the Center for Alaskan Coastal Studies, and Beluga Whale Alliance, they've been partners with us for a long time now. We have an extended relationship with them. I'd like to touch upon the Alaska Sea Life Center down in Seward, Alaska. It is a rescue and rehabilitation center for rescued, injured, orphaned animals that are found in the bay and around Alaskan waters. And they're able to come in and not just rehabilitate the animals, but to teach the public and educate the public on ways that you can help at home. Simple things like maybe don't use that straw that you wanted to use, little pieces like that. And they highlight that, and then they're able to, see a puffin up close swimming underwater, which if you haven't seen that, that's one of the programs that's listed on the Great Exploration package. And it's really special to get an in-depth look at those creatures, swim underwater and what they eat, and, getting an up-close look at just those minute details, like by their eyes and the coloring, and it's quite special. Right now, while they're in, emergency mode, I guess, because they are closed, they are urging visitors to click on their COVID-19 information tab on their website. Their website is alaskasealife.org. And if you click on that tab, you can actually find and check it out yourself. They have virtual visits that you can do right now. And you can even, if you feel so inclined, contribute to their emergency fund, which goes to support the animals that are living at the Sea Life Center.
Yeah, and then the other two organizations that we're working with specifically for this trip here at the end of the summer, the Center for Alaskan Coastal Studies is down in Homer, which is one of Mandy's most favorite places. I think it's everyone's probably most favorite place. There's just something about Homer that is really magical, and the Center for Alaskan Coastal Studies just does a phenomenal job of community outreach, environmental stewardship. They do just so much work, not only in Homer, but all over the coastlines of Alaska. And we've worked with them quite a bit. And we have a couple of different elements of the tour that we're going to be doing with them. And one of my most favorite trips that even as a kid, I did it multiple times just on field trips as a grade school student. And it's incorporated in this trip, which I'm super excited about, is just a really simple program that they run called Belly Biology. And it's just something that always, through all of my childhood, stuck with me. And every single doc, no matter where I am in the world, I tap on the knowledge that they shared with me as, first or second grader. And a lot of their programs are youth-based programs, but I've never been disappointed with what I've learned from them as an adult. And we're working with them quite a bit for this trip, both in Homer and doing a boat trip as well across the bay. So I'm very excited about that. They also, which Mandy sounds like she's been utilizing them a lot in this homeschooling stint of her life. This center has done a phenomenal job of doing online community outreach, so to speak. So if you go to their website, right at the very top, there's a button you can click for outdoor education learning that they are putting curriculum out for people who are at home. So they do everything from just little learning plans to worksheets to scavenger hunts. And obviously it's a little bit more centric to Homer and, Alaska, but I'm sure it's stuff that can be applied anywhere that you are in the world. Probably the coolest element of this whole thing that they're doing is they are doing virtual field trips every Tuesday and Thursday. And I think it's at 2 p.m. Alaska Standard Time. And that's a really awesome way to just make people feel like they're out and about, even though they're not up here in Anchorage. We're about 5 hours from Homer, and it's a really cool element of education that they can share that way. So and if you do feel like contributing, just like many of the nonprofits, you can donate right now. But honestly, it would be a great prepping for this trip would be to go to their website right now and look at some of that stuff, because it's really interesting. And again, it's kind of geared towards all school age kids. They actually have a breakdown of different grade levels for a lot of their curriculum. But like I said, I've read through quite a bit of it and find all of it pretty interesting. So that's a really neat thing that they have going right now that I hope they honestly keep going after this, because that would be great. The third company that we're working with, or nonprofit that we're working with, is the Beluga Whale Alliance, which we have really close ties to this group of people. And it's just this great grassroots nonprofit that is based out of Girdwood, Alaska, so just about 45 miles south of Anchorage. And they are going to be meeting us in town right on the water, which is where the meat of their work is right there along the Turnagain Arm. And that's going to be a great element to have while we're in Anchorage for that day. They have kind of scaled back their community outreach during this period of time, but they are personally still working and doing all of their field work right now currently. And we're kind of coming into beluga whale season right now, actually. So they're out and doing all of their work currently. They do have some swag that you can buy, which is probably the best way to contribute right now. They're, aside from just doing donations directly to them, but they have partnered with another local business called Love from Alaska, and you can go to their website and actually filter for Beluga Whale Alliance. And they have really adorable leggings and face masks right now. They're making face masks, and that's kind of how they're getting through this period of time.
Wow, thank you. I'm inspired, and I really.
Yeah, and the first beluga whales were spotted this season about a week and a half ago. So
Really?
yeah, just north of Homer. So that's good.
Is that normal, or is that early? Or?
Yeah, that's pretty normal. This is the time of the year in the spring when we're starting to see that migration from the Kenai Peninsula up towards our area in Cook Inlet. So they generally will winter down towards Homer and then come into the Anchorage area in the summer months, and they feed and breed in the Turnagain Arm. And so that's we can do a lot of our citizen scientist monitoring ways along the Cook Inlet shores, like right in Anchorage even, and the Turnagain Arm.
Interesting.
And if you do go to their website, they generally do have dates listed that they do the community projects, which is really fun. Like I've actually stopped just with guests before because it just happens to be going on as we're driving down the Turnagain Arm to go to Girdwood, and they're really fun community events. If you go to that page actually on the website, I'm pretty sure still Mandy's daughter is the banner photo of it, and it's the most adorable little girl ever. So you guys can go and check that out.
Yeah, we have to teach them young to be stewards of the earth.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can't wait for our travelers to experience that for themselves. So, and as a side note for our listeners, we're going to send you an email with these links and more information on these organizations so you can follow up at a later time. So for those who do want to travel to Alaska in the future, is there a specific news source that you'd like to recommend for them to stay informed?
Yeah, definitely. Maurice and I were talking about this before because we were like, well, we should probably try to narrow it down to one source that you could really just dedicate to going and checking out. And KTUU, which is our Channel 2 station, but KTUU does a fabulous job, both on their website, but really their Facebook is super up to date. The Facebook Live programs, they will stream the governor's address at 5 p.m. Alaska time daily. And that's been a huge source of information because from there, if you're more interested in learning about our curve, right? Or if you're more interested in learning about data, you have those resources to go to the data. If you're more interested in learning about like what are the restrictions right now or the mandates right now, that is a really great way to point you in all those different directions. So Maurice and I both agree that KTUU is probably our biggest resource right now.
And it's nice because if you do have a Facebook account, if you follow them, it notifies you when it goes live. Obviously, you can always recall it and watch it at a later time, but it is really convenient for me to just get that notification. You can get up to date, and then they generally will do links to the State of Alaska website that gives you the written format of any new mandates that have come out or any new health regulations and stuff like that.
Yeah, agreed. That's what I've been watching too. So at this time, is there anything else you want our listeners to know?
Well, I would say the mayor did announce his return. The mayor of Anchorage announced his return to work policy on Monday, and the governor announced his return to work policy last night and the different phases. So right now, Alaskans are taking, especially Alaskans living in Anchorage, we are mandated by both parties. So right now, what we're doing as a team is we're creating our own return to work policy. So if questions arise about that, I might not have the answers right now, but I will get those answers to you as we are developing them. And this is a perfect webinar to host right now because it is just in the moment, right? So we're taking the governor's mandates, the end phases, and the mayor's phases, and then advice from the CDC by their best practices on how to travel safely. Right now, CDC has both the airline best practices and cruise ship best practices. I would think that guiding in small group is more like airline than cruise. So we're turning to those best practices resources online and formulating our own plan.
Yeah, and it really is, we really are looking forward to the later summer months to be able to operate all sorts of trips. And this whole thing is going to totally change a lot of tourism for longer than just this one season. But we are so well versed and so well practiced in doing the behind the scenes and specifically going for the smaller companies and that really local vibe that this season is really just right in our wheelhouse, which is really exciting. So I'm really excited for all of you guys to be able to come up here at the end of the summer. And I really do think it'll be an awesome opportunity to let kind of those behind the scenes things of Alaska really shine.
Absolutely. And talk about vast spaces. I mean, that's what Alaska is known for.
Yes.
easy to stay 6 feet apart.
Exactly. So if anybody has any questions for Mandy and Marisa, now would be a great time to ask them. Any of our teammates as well, if you're curious about anything relating to Alaska.
I was wondering, I was surprised to hear you guys say that everyone's outside. So are all of your parks and everything open up there?
Our playgrounds are not open. So the playgrounds at those style parks, but our trailheads are open. The only kind of suggestion is if you go to one of our more popular trailheads, like the Glen Alps Trailhead, Flat Top Mountain, and you see there's, 100 cars, like maybe take a different trail. And we've seen lots of folks turn around and go to another trail. And luckily we have tons right outside of Anchorage even.
I was gonna say, yeah, I thought that this would be a huge problem, but people are actually being pretty respectful of it. And one of the suggestions, so it's not a mandate, but one of the suggestions that they did put out is that you should be, if you're going to be participating in activities like that, it should be with people of your household. So not, me and Mandy haven't gone and done that already. It's people in your household, so you're not kind of cross-contaminating other populations, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I think it's actually it's really refreshing to be able to see people's pictures, and the weather right now is being really cooperative, which is great. So I think people have been enjoying that aspect of it at least.
Makes sense. Otherwise, you'd have to close the whole state if you're going to close the parks, right?
Yeah, well, and here we have a lot of different governing bodies for trails. So the municipality is obviously a little bit more rigid, like the parks and whatnot. But the state park system is huge, and there's a ton of different access points. There's also just borough land outside of Anchorage that you can access. And like me personally, I know I'm very lucky, but we have a ton of property, so we can just go out on our own property and be able to do some pretty decent hikes. So I think everyone's getting creative with their outdoor activity.
Yeah, absolutely. No shortage of backcountry. So, all right. Well, I don't see or anything. I'll wrap it up here. This webinar has been recorded and will be emailed to everybody who's joined us today. If you do have any follow-up questions, please let us know. Our contact information will be outlined in that email sent to you. This series is also going to be featured on our Facebook and blog, so please be sure to invite your friends. And if there is a particular country that you are really dying to learn about, please let us know, and we'll do our best to facilitate that. So Mandy and Marisa, thank you so much for joining us today on this webinar. It's always great to see your faces, and really hope to see you guys in Alaska soon.
Yeah, we'll see you when when you get here.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Be well.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Take care. Stay safe.